In which way? In which way? That's the question. In which way?
In the way,
Ultimately for our betterment.
We're going to raise our hands. I'm so glad you all want to participate. Like, that makes me the happiest. Okay, so I'm going to ask Jody first, and then.
in the way Hashem wants it to work out.
Okay. And what do I take the next step from there? Okay, so you're right. Okay, I'm praying, blah, 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 and it's all going to work out just the way Hashem wants it to work out. How do I feel about that? How do I feel about that? That it's going to work out just the way Hashem wants it to work out. How does that make me feel?
Good. Great.
Great.
I don't think so.
Why? Why?
Not easy though.
If it is in our favor, we will feel great. But if it is not in our favor, we will feel sad.
Okay, that's interesting. So we're going to feel good if God, if God thinks what we wanted was good. Hadassah's very honest. Okay, he's very honest. Okay, what is it when Esther said we're lacking Amuna? Esther said we're lacking Amuna. Okay, so let's put it together. So Esther's telling us we're lacking Amuna, right? And that we need to feel that all our actions are making a difference, because as long as God is giving us the answer, it's always
Good.
yes. Okay. For you, this is the hardest part of our lives. The hardest part of our lives. You're very finite, you're very limited. And what we think is for us is comfort. If we were really honest, okay, that's what we're really looking for. Most of what in the world is you want a comfortable trip. You know, like when you're going on the airplane, before you have to go to Israel, what's your biggest fear? You're going to be squished. There's going to be a really big, heavy person sit next to you. You won't have any room to move. You're davening like the plane should be empty. I should be able to lay down. Like, comfort is a very important reality for the body. Okay, I'm going to be honest. The body is searching for comfort more than it's searching for anything else. Meaning all the other stuff means like it's not important. So the body, just give me comfort, right? But the soul is from a different reality. And Hashem, when you're davening to him, he's answering your prayers according to what's good for your soul, not necessarily for the body's comfort. You see what's going on here? So we're davening. Okay, so we say to Hashem, like, you know what? That's true. That's great, God. That's great. You only care about my soul. Amazing. But who has to come along with my soul?
My body.
Okay. My body has to come along with my soul. It's very, very hard for me to be very soulful when I'm not feeling well, or when things are hard, or when I'm stressed, or I'm emotionally down. That's very hard. So you're definitely, and you should, entitled to daven for the whole picture. But if Hashem says I'm only answering half the picture, a quarter of a picture, 3/4 of a picture, I'm giving you a whole new picture. You have to say, you know what, Hashem, you know what you're doing. But this too is for the best. But that doesn't mean I can't try tomorrow. In fact, I need to try again tomorrow, and I need to daven again tomorrow. So I want us just to memorize a couple things, okay? Because a lot of times, like we're saying Tehillim, you remember Sandy, right? Sandy said like a couple of weeks ago, and I don't blame you, Sandy. Like she said, we're looking at this shidduch list, and we don't see it getting any smaller, right? Like, where's all this Tehillim going? Every single Tuesday, there's these women standing there saying Tehillim. Where's it going? Okay, it's a good question, because the Tehillim, the shidduch list is only getting bigger, not smaller. So where's this Tehillim going? Does anybody know? I'm serious. I'm really
Other places where it's needed.
Okay, so it could go to other places where it's needed. It could even be going to these people. We don't understand it. So maybe we're not getting them their shidduch, but we may be reducing their loneliness and the pain of the loneliness. You know what I'm saying? And guess what? This is a great merit for them. When Hashem has to decide, you know, what should happen to Sprint Sachana, you know, Bas Shira Leah? What should happen to Sprint Sachana, Bas Shira Leah? Oh, wow, because of her, look, so many people are praying. You know what? Prince Sachana Bashira Leah deserves a couple brownie points just for enabling people to pray for her, just for going through the suffering and making other people, you know, feel that they need to help her out. So we do not see it in the concrete sense of what we're looking for, but there's so much more behind. Like sometimes you're praying for people who aren't well. So the Torah tells you, it doesn't mean they're going to necessarily be cured. Maybe, and we daven, but what about if they aren't? So all the prayers that you prayed are a treasure box for their children and for all of their family. All the prayers that you prayed is a care package that they take with them to heaven, and they get a gazillion brownie points because every tefillah that you said for in their merit belongs to them as much as it belongs to you. Or maybe we made them feel better. Do we know? We have no idea how much whatever we were destined to have. So this is the hard part of us. And we're in an instant gratification generation. You're interested put your card in, like, what's going on now? Like, how everything is just moving faster. You don't even have to, like, now, remember the time you used to have to sign when you bought something with your credit card? Like, I feel like I'm ancient even thinking about that. Okay, like you had to sign. Okay, now that's ancient news. Okay, then you had to put your credit card in and actually press the pin. Forget it. You don't even have to do that anymore. You just tap. You know what I'm trying to say? So things are moving so quickly that prayer seems like such a slow process. It's very hard for us to have this because what's supposed to happen when you're praying is that you're supposed to be changing. Did you know that? It's like an interesting idea. It's a reflexive verb. Tefillah is lehit palel. Remember what we learned about with that idea from Rav Nachman of Kol ha'olam kulo gesher tzar mi'od. All the world is a very, very narrow bridge. And the ikar, the most important thing is lo lehit fached, not to make yourself afraid. So when you're praying, you're supposed to be lehit palel. I'm supposed to pray in a way that I change myself. And if I pray in a way that I change myself, the Torah tells you then you may change your muzzle. You see what I'm saying? Then what was destined for you yesterday may not be destined for you today. Today you are a different person.
Gail?
Yeah.
I learned some of this today when I was reading some of the notes coming in about praying for the Dukes, for their nephew, for Rav Yudi Dukes. And they said that the doctors said that as far as they're concerned, the fact that he has got through whatever he's got through is nothing short of a miracle. So that's where our prayers are going. Miracles upon miracles every day, every minute.
That was perfect. That was absolutely perfect. So it may not be, that complete refuah shalema, he's walking around and everything's great, but we've sustained his life. Every breath you take on this planet is a reward for you in the world. And that's at the end, the train stop we're really looking for. Do you know what I'm saying? So yes, 100%. So it's hard for us to appreciate because we're looking at it in the very, concrete, short-sighted perspective. But the perspective is much bigger and much greater. So that's something that we have to take upon ourselves. And like what Rav Chaim Kanievsky's daughter, like really, we have to take a lot of inspiration from it. When she went to the stipler and he said, listen, in today's world, to have Amuna and to be able to hold on to your prayer, to really cry to Hashem is almost impossible.
Did you bring the stuff over?
We're jaded. I'm just going to be honest. We're jaded. We live in a very secular world. It doesn't tell you to believe in anything. It's very, very hard to fight such a strong Gate Sahara. And we do not, I'm going to be honest, have the ability to focus, right? We have less of a concentration, they said, than a goldfish in a bowl. Right? Like because of technology, we're only losing more and more our ability to concentrate. So what did the stipler said? He said, you are Mitsuyan, you are excellent even if you try. So even when we say these Tehillims every Tuesday, and we say this prayer of thanks every Monday, just the fact that we get together and that we try already puts greatness into the world. So now I want to explain to you something about davening in a minyan. And although women don't daven in a minyan, right, as they get older, they would daven in a minyan. And I think it applies to women also. So what's going on here is that when you daven in a minyan, so it's true, not all of us can concentrate the whole way through. So let's say between this whole group, okay, we go to shul, we're doing this, okay, or we're just sitting here davening together, or we're even saying the book of Tehillim, okay? We're doing these kind of things. So let's say I do okay. I'm good with the morning brachas. Like I can concentrate. There it is. My head's in the right place. Morning brachas. Gail's got the morning brachas. Okay. After that, I'm in La La Land. Okay.
In
Esther,
Machne Yehuda, in Shuk Machne Yehuda.
yeah.
Or Sobi. I'm in Sobi.
You're Tobies. So let's say here's Esther. So Esther, morning brachas, she doesn't get it. She's still going, oh. Then she gets to Ashrei, she's got her heart in it, okay? Then Jody, right? It's time for Yishtabach. I'm already like lost. Jody, this is her focal point, right? Then Barb, Shmona Esrei all the way. Kathy Aleinu. You know what Hashem does?
It puts them all together.
You know what that's like? You look at Tehillim, what does David HaMelech call God? Lam Natseach, the conductor. And what does a conductor do with a symphony? It's like the violin.
You do this, you do that.
Yeah, there's this little, the trumpets, and then there's one guy who goes like this with a triangle. Ding, okay. Ding, finishes and completes the entire symphony. So this is something we have to realize. You're right. We have a mitzvah. We have to try our best to concentrate through the whole Shemona Esrei. But the beauty of prayer when you're united together is that the Almighty picks the best of all of our prayers and conducts the symphony. And it like crowns Hashem. It becomes his beautiful crown. What spoils it is if somebody talks during davening. It's an interesting reality. So it just takes one conversation, and then why is it? Why would it be that God would be so like forget the symphony. This one, that violin is totally out. And once one violin is missing, it's just not that. I really need someone to please mute because there's just a lot of noise in the background. Okay? Okay, so I'm trying to find you on my thing. Okay. I'm not sure who it is. All right, so what was I just telling you? Yeah. So why do you think that someone talking in shul just like puts a big X on that instrument?
Because it breaks everybody's concentration.
Oh, okay, beautiful. So number one, it breaks everybody's concentration. Great. And what else?
Chutzpah.
What's the chutzpah?
It's
towards Hashem.
Right, towards Hashem. A chutzpah towards Hashem. What's the chutzpahdik part of it?
Not enough you don't pray. You make others not pray too.
Okay, so that's double chutzpah. But why is it so chutzpahdik? Like imagine, this is the person who gives you everything, okay?
The king, and you're slapping him in the face.
Yeah, you're slapping him in the face. Like it's such a chutzpah to be able to stand in front of Hashem who gives you everything, you know what I mean? Sustains your life, and everybody's crying, please, God, help us. And it takes one person to go, did you hear the latest? Did you know that the Blue Jays, they didn't really do well this week? They're like, okay.
And the fact that you come to the house of Hashem, because stay home. You want to talk, stay home, or be outside. Like the rabbis say, go to the hallway if you want to.
Right, exactly. Okay, so perfect. So it's like the ultimate chutzpah. And when you are like, it makes sense. It almost makes sense. It's like this guy opted out. Again, remember, Hashem never forces a relationship with you. So if you're standing in the most relationship place, and Shemona Esrei is very interesting, is the height of your prayer. Okay, how do we see that Shemona Esrei is so important? Like when you look at all the other prayers, like what's going on with Shemona Esrei that's like so over the top?
You go 3 steps back and come back.
Right, there's a lot of like movement.
Talking personally to Hashem.
Let's say that again, Leora.
Talking personally to Hashem.
Okay, very beautiful. So they say that Shemona Esrei is like the Yichud room. Does anybody know what the Yichud room is?
Right, at a wedding.
Right, at a wedding. So you just got married. Okay, you like your first time. You haven't seen each other for 7 days. Like the chassan and kala are not supposed to see each other, talk to each other for 7 days before their chuppah. And that's what the Torah tells you. It really builds the excitement, and it's such a beautiful reality. Okay, so now could you imagine your chassan is running with you into this yichud room? You're finally going to have a chance to talk to each other, to eat, to just say something beautiful to each other, and you run in. And the husband says to you, could you wait a minute? And he opens the door and he yells down the hall, can somebody make sure that, I get a steak? Okay? Like, don't forget I need a steak.
Or open the phone. Never mind to yell.
Phone. Okay?
The worst.
The color, and it goes deep. And he goes, wait 1 second. I just want to check my WhatsApp. Okay. So do you see what's going on here? So Shemona Esrei is considered that yichud room. So Baruch Hashem, I don't think any of us would ever talk, but it is hard for us to focus. Okay. So what we need to do is pick one spot, even one. I try it and I'm telling you, I blow it. Okay, it's terrible. Okay, so true confessions. Okay, so what I want is for you to pick one spot in Shmona Esrei where you really want to concentrate. So I found a really good spot, okay? And it's just going to take one word, one word. I want you to concentrate on the word modim. Does everybody know where that part is in Shmona Esrei? Right? You're
We
going
thank.
thank. Okay, so why do I want you to concentrate so much? Because I forgot to tell you this Devar Torah by the Amen one. Remember I told you the whole concept of this Amen, we say 100 Amens and it's supposed to rock the world because we're really saying 100 brachot. And it was the 100 brachot that David instilled into the Jewish people that he mandated. He said, look, if you want, there was a plague going on. He said, if you want this plague to stop and there's 100 people dying every day, there's a hint here that we have to do 100 brachas, right? There's a sentence in the Torah. What does Hashem want from you? And they say, Ma Hashem me'ah, 100. He wants 100 blessings, 100 times where you say, I appreciate you, God. It's very, very hard to say 100. But modim, the numerical value of the word modim is 100. So the one thing that we could think of when we say modim anachnu, think, God, I am giving you 100 blessings of gratitude, 100 thank yous. That's what I want to give you at modim. And we can just let's just practice little things. Because I'm going to tell you, yeah, you need to have kavanah, you need to be focused, you're going to tell me, yeah, Gail, great. I could do it for about 3 seconds. Okay, maybe if on a good day, 4. Right? Like you start off. Don't you start off? Am I the only one talking like this? Like you start off with all these good intentions. Am I right? That I'm really going to be focused on these words. And then suddenly your head, exactly what Esther said, suddenly you're, oh my gosh, I forgot on my list. What do I have to get at Sobeys? Oh yeah, Baruch and Atah and, oh yeah, chicken. That's what I, no, okay, I don't want to think about chicken, God. I want to just think about you, right? But it's like, oh. So that's a very beautiful idea. Small focus. The word modim is 100. And God, I want to give you 100 blessings. Very appropriate for us right now during COVID. Right? Because that's like the Torah would tell you, how do you treat COVID? Turn the pages, find a plague, and see what they did. And that was what they did. So it's a good idea for us at this point to be thinking about this concept of modim. All right? To thank Hashem for the 100 brachas. Okay. Let me see what I wanted to tell you. Okay, so we talked about this idea when we said the collective prayer, and it's very interesting because sometimes, like people that seem not so religious, they're kind of far apart, but they tell you, they believe in God, and they actually say to you, I pray to God. And what do you say to that? You say, great, that's wonderful, because this is the collective Jewish people. Just like you see on the holiday of Sukkot, we have the Arba Minim, right? We have the 4 species. Okay, so what are they? Does anybody know? Anybody remember? It's good for us to just think.
The people that are religious, the
Yes,
people
yes.
that are not religious, the people that learn, and the people that do chesed.
Beautiful. And what are those 4 things? Like Hadassah, what were you going to say?
Hadas,
Yeah, Hadassah.
Arava.
Etrog.
Yes, beautiful.
And
Lula.
Lula.
Okay, perfect. So that's perfect. And what do? We hold them together. We shake them together. We are together. So it's a very beautiful reality for us to appreciate. So I need to appreciate everybody's prayers. And if you are dealing with someone who isn't that religious and they tell you, I got so many problems, just say, you know what, pray. Pray. Because I need your prayers and I'm going to give you my prayers too. We all need each other. We all need that recognition. Everybody needs help. I'm going to pray for you. You pray for me. Your prayers are very, very precious to God. And you should know they really are. Especially people who don't have a lot of conversation with Hashem. Then whenever you converse with Hashem, it's like, whoa, you remembered me? It makes that person feel really good. So it's important for us to understand that. Okay, so now... I just want to see what else I wanted to tell you. Okay, so how do we see that we've really become something very special in Shmona Esrei? Shmona Esrei, they say, you've moved in your prayer. When you first get up, you're more animal than soul. like, how when we all wake up, we're like, we're all groggy. Like the first thing I do to my alarm clock is shut it off and always sleep in. Okay, big mistake. But why is that? Because body is what's really there. Do you know, like your soul's been returned, but your body is like, oh, he's all there. So when you say those first 15 brachas, you're really acknowledging, like, thank you for, I can see, and thank you for I can move, and thank you. You know what I mean? It's a lot of a bodily reality. Then you keep moving up in prayer all the way to Shemona Esrei. When you get to Shemona Esrei, you're like an angel. What is the thing symbolize? How do we symbolize being an angel in Shemona Esrei?
We stand with our feet together. Standing with our feet together.
Yora, we stand with our feet together. So that's a big deal because angels are not holchim. They can't walk. Angels can only stay in one place. Okay? And that's how we're almost like on that level of an angel. We're almost like Moshe who goes up to Har Sinai and is able to really be, intimately with Hashem. That's what we're looking to do. Okay. So now, the Torah tells you, let's just get the atmosphere of the room that you should pray in, all right? So when you go to a shul, how do you comport yourself in a shul? How do we dress in a shul? How do we act in a shul?
With dignity, respect.
Beautiful. So I like respectfully, okay? So like when people come into a shul, like let's say, they're not dressed so beautifully. They're like showing everything and doing everything. What will you find in a shul? Sometimes you'll find a shawl. Right? You go to the kotel, there's a whole thing there of shawls, things to cover your hair, things to cover your pants, things to cover all of these things. Why? Because when you are in the king's palace, you dress a certain way, right? You go to Washington, you're not supposed to go in your torn jeans. People would go with a suit and a tie, you know what I mean, and a little flag on their pin a little flag on their chest. Like you go with a certain comportment. So really, if you can, when you daven, even in your house, how should you be dressed?
Properly.
Yeah. Okay. So let's say something that you see in the Hasidic world. Some people even have a very pretty robe. Like if you even have a nice house coat that's pretty, like some people have a velvety house coat. You know what I mean? It's like at least it's balabatish, but you wouldn't be davening in your pajamas, right? Right? Okay. What should your room look like that you're davening in?
Tidy.
What?
Minshadek.
What would that mean? Like
clean. It should be clean, I guess.
You want it to be clean, neat. Like they tell you should not make brachas in a bedroom when the bed isn't made. Okay? It's just not respectful. So, you make the bed, you clean up, you don't have garbage in front of you. What else should you, if you can avoid it, take it out of the room?
Phone.
What do you think? What should you take out of the room if you can avoid it?
Telephone.
Yes, 100%. Take your cell phone out because what happens? Like the cell phone has a draw to it. Like they've done a million studies and they say, even if the cell phone is in your room, like anybody, like students where the teachers tell them, you could put the cell phone on the desk. The kids can't stop looking at the cell phone, wanting to pull the cell phone, wanting to pick the cell phone up. True or false? 100% true. Oh. So it can be very distracting. Even if you put it on, you hear it vibrate or you have a WhatsApp, ding, ding, like you're in the middle of davening, ding, hard enough that we're not in Sobeys, right? Or we're not in the Marcolette, or we're not, you know what I mean, in outer space. Okay, hard enough. But now once you keep that cell phone there, then you're even asking for more of a distraction. So you could see all the great rabbis have told all the men, do not bring your cell phone in. It's chutzpah. People were answering their cell phones during davening. Do you know that? Or they would have it on vibrate and they feel it going on in their pants and they pick it up to look at it while they're davening. So it's just not the reality. So the reality is, you need to be in a headspace. You want to have it quiet. You want to have it pretty. You want to have it conducive to being able to pray uninterrupted. Okay. So those people with lots of little kids, diapers and crying and screaming, the Torah tells you, you don't really have so much time for davening. Your mitzvah is your kids. Okay. Once you're getting older, like, a lot of us are at home, you have adult children, they're not coming in, to bother you the same way. Right. And you can tell your adult children, look, I'm davening now for half an hour or whatever it is. Please don't bother me. Right. You can shut your world off and you can put yourself into a place where you could really concentrate. So Shema, yes.
It made me think of it for Chandra's school, like on Zoom.
like the students have to be at a desk, or like so many kids at the beginning, like they're in their beds and they're not, you know, they're in their jammies, or, you know, and they just made a rule. You need to be at a desk, you need to be sitting, you need to be respectful for yourself, you know. And
right. And in fact,
others.
they made the kids have to be on with their faces, because like, can you imagine being
Yes.
and every kid was all, you know, just names, and you're just standing there talking to, you know, bricks, you know what I'm saying? So yes.
So the atmosphere.
Yeah. So this is what the Torah is telling you, because it's a serious event, because it's an event between two people who are supposed to really love each other. What's tefillah really? It's a big connection. Do you know what I mean? So that's what it is. Like, you don't want to, you know, like today it's so sad, right? I remember before this whole COVID thing, me and my husband once went to a restaurant and we were laughing. Like, we looked around, all the people at the restaurant were sitting with their phones. And you could see them, like some of them were like, you know, the young couples who probably had kids, who were like so excited to leave the kids at home and finally get some quality time. And both people were just looking on the phone. Like, nobody was talking to anybody, right? So here's what we're saying, like, we've lost that art. You know, I just gave a class just a few minutes ago, actually, to kids who were between the ages of 11 and 16. And so one of them was like a really smart kitty, and we were talking about character traits. So he said respect. I said, okay, you know, what do you think respect is? And so I said, is like that I said to them, like, I bet you when you were in your lunchrooms at school, you know, everybody's sitting supposedly with their friends, but nobody's looking at anybody. Right? Everybody's just looking down at the phone. No kid is even looking at the other kid. And if one kid would want you to really look at them, it's almost impossible for you to lift up your head. Like, we've lost a lot of some basic understandings of what a relationship is, and what it is to give eye contact, and what it is to listen. And I think that could even happen with prayer. Like, we're forever multitasking. So you're forever multitasking in your mind. So it's really, really hard to sit and really get it. And I want you to know something very important. Like, I know people love to say this line, well, how can I daven? I don't understand the words. So what's Hashem's answer to you?
Daven in English.
Okay, exactly.
Find out the words.
Exactly. That's what Hashem's answer is. Like, it's not rocket science, you know. Thank God. What do you have today? There is not a sitter that doesn't have the English translation and deeper meaning to the words. Like, God said, yeah, you're right. It's work, okay? Tefillah is called avodah. Remember, we talked about it last week. Tefillah is called avodah. It's a kind of work. So Shemona Esrei is very, hits the heart of the woman, the Jewish woman, more than anyone else. Because the person who founded the way to really daven was Hannah. That's the first time that you see a real personal, emotional prayer was Hannah, who was davening for children, right? And she had this, her son was Shmuel, so she hit the jackpot. And she had more children after him too. So it was really a beautiful story. So I just want to tell you the way that Tanakh describes the way that she davened. And by the way that she davened, the rabbis took out the laws, the halacha of how we're supposed to daven when we say Shemona Esrei, okay? So it says like this, okay? She was the model of sincere prayers. So it described her heartfelt plea in Tanakh as the following, okay? So in quotes, and Hannah was speaking in her heart. Only her lips moved and her voice was not heard. So let me say that again, and then you tell me what we learned from this, okay? And Hannah was speaking in her heart, and her lips moved and her voice was not heard. So what do we learn from those three parts? So she spoke from her heart. What does that mean?
She was focused and concentrated.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay. She was very focused and she was very concentrated. And where was it coming from?
From her heart.
When it comes from your leg.
From her neshama.
Okay, from her neshama, but a very important part. What is the lave, the bed of? Emotion. And that's a really big one. I think it's sometimes very hard. Like, thank God, I hate to say this, but Baruch Hashem, may Hashem only bless us with good. But when things are really good and going good, it's sometimes harder to be emotional in your prayer. You almost like kind of take it for granted. Like, okay, you know, everything's good. So Torah tells you a lot. When things are going good, pray that it stays good. Okay? Like, I know that sounds funny, but
very true.
For granted, you know, doesn't remember Shlomo Melech had a ring. Gam ze yavor. Okay, this too will pass. So be very smart and say, you know what, Hashem, I feel badly. I can't get my kishkas into this. But with all my kishkas, if I could really express it to you, Modim, 100 million brachas a day, 100,000 thank yous, please, for everything you do for me, and please, for everything you do for my friends and for the world and for everyone. Like, keep the sun coming up, keep the moon coming up, you know, keep the world in one piece, keep peace in the streets. Like, you know, you know, think about all this stuff. Right? Keep stores open. Don't let the world go bankrupt. You know, like, do you know what's going on? I was so sad. You know, I asked all those kids, what did you do on your break? Do you know how many of them said nothing? Nothing. Like, I was gonna cry. Nothing. There was nowhere to go. You can't go skating. You can't do this. You're not supposed to hang out with people. We did nothing. Like, you know, it's like so. There's really a lot, really deep down.
That's why I'm cooking.
That's why you're cooking, and that's why I'm baking.
So I don't say nothing.
COVID 25 pounds.
That's why they call it COVID-19, 19 pounds.
19 pounds. And now it's, to me, it's like a little more. Okay. So, anyway, so let's see. So number one, she spoke from her heart. Number two, her lips moved. What does that mean?
She was praying. She was saying words.
You have to move your lips. I can't tell you how many times I'm standing in shul or I'm watching people bench. It drives me crazy. You have to move your lips. People are holding the sitter and going like this. They're just reading. You have to go, okay? You have to move your lips, because when you move your lips, you enunciate the words. When you enunciate the words, you make them real. Okay, thought just sits in here. Do you know what I'm thinking?
Yeah.
When I say, you know, you're all so wonderful. Now it's real. Okay? I could think it from here till tomorrow, but I can't. If I don't express it, I don't move my lips, then I've really said nothing. Okay, so that's the abracadabra of life, right?
So I have a question.
Wait. I create according to the way I speak. That's what abracadabra means. Abara ka'adaber. So Shem is saying, when you're davening, you need to move your lips. It's very important. Please remember it, because all the benching and all this stuff that I'm watching, it's not really prayer. And it's not a hard thing. It actually helps you do what Sarah said. It helps you focus. Okay, so Esther, what did you want to ask?
So sometimes Shmuel, he prayed the Birkat Hamazon, and he said, and he swallowed half of the words.
Okay, so say it slower. Say it slower.
So that's wrong, no?
I mean, if you say it slower, that's better. Like, it could be that he's going too quick. Like that's what they say, that when people are going really, really fast, you end up
they cut half of the words.
Yeah,
and
so
no, that's
slower. That's all. So it's an issue of saying it a little slower. Better to move his lips than not to move them at all, but best to move them slowly so you really can articulate the words. So what's also very interesting is if you look at the words, it says her voice was not heard. So what does that mean? Like when we're
you don't need other people to hear you pray.
Yes, perfect. Okay, so I really want to explain to you the way you're doing it. It's almost like a whisper. Okay, so you're like, you know, no, it's a whisper. So when everybody whisper, keep your hand where your mouth is and whisper into your hand. Like, say, what do you feel on your hand?
Air.
Yes. Okay. So the point of whispering is that you should feel your breath, because your nishima and your nishama are almost the same. Your breath and your soul are one. God breathed, right, a breath into man. That breath that he breathed into man is called your neshama. So when you're like whispering, right, then you're thinking again of your neshama. It's like you're almost like thanking Hashem. You're connected. You're saying, Hashem, without breath, what are you? You're not here, right? That's the first thing that we know when someone passes on. There's no more breathing. There is no more breath. But when you're standing in Shemona Esrei and you're whispering, you're moving your lips, you're saying, I'm really connecting to that neshama, my neshima, my neshama, my breath, my soul. We're so connected. And that's why, you know, you find a lot in the secular world. They're always talking about breathing, right? Like, this is like the new world. And they're probably right. We're so stressed, we're so tight that we're not really giving full breaths. And they're always talking about like when you give a full breath, like you're nurturing your whole body, you're relaxing, you're this, you're that. And that's what we're tuning into when we're doing Shmona Esrei with this. Okay? Okay. So beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so Shmona, yeah?
What is the third thing? Spoke from the heart.
Spoke from the heart.
One
moved her lips, right?
Yeah.
And no one else could hear. So you never hear in Shemona Esrei them yelling while they're davening. No one's going, Baruch. You don't hear that, where you might hear it in other parts of the tefillah. And in fact, did anybody ever go to the kotel where it's noise, at 10 million different minions, and then Shemona Esrei and complete silence? Has anybody ever been there for that? It's like the most amazing experience. Like it's such a spiritual event. Okay, beautiful. So now let's go and really look into our siddur. We're going to do a little bit of Shemona Esrei, literally inside. Okay, we're going to look inside.
Sorry, Gail, I still didn't get what's the third thing.
Okay, so I'm so glad you're asking me. Okay, so no voice.
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't say it out loud. You move with your lips and you say it with kavana.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so those are the three things. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now we're going to look at Shemona Esrei, and now we're going to ask a big question, and it's not an easy question, okay? So when you stand before the king and you're standing in Shemona Esrei, what's your goal? What's your goal? Like, it's so funny what they do, okay? So we're walking, first we walk backwards, right? We don't say any words. People get mixed up, okay? You do not say Hashem Sifasai Tiftach while you're walking. Walking is its own separate entity, okay? So I walk back, 1, 2, 3. Why do you think I'm walking back?
Because I'm preparing for the king.
You have to put your hand up because it's like too many people. Okay, why would you walk back? Okay.
Preparing yourself before you go before the king.
Okay. So number one, you want to walk back because you want to get out of all the nutty stuff that's in your head. Okay, that's it. I'm turning into an angel. Okay, I'm an angel. I really want to be focused. I'm dumping my stuff. Okay, I'm dumping all my stuff. I'm dumping all the errands that I have to do. I'm dumping all the, shopping I have to do. I'm dumping how I have to remember to take the car here and pick up the kids and blah, 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 and go to work. And I'm just dumping it. Okay, this is not here for me anymore. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now I'm standing for a second. You're not supposed to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Now I'm moving
forward.
Okay, so what am I thinking as I'm like preparing myself to go forward?
That you're getting closer to Kisah Kavod.
Okay. So you are going in front of Ein Od Milvado. What does it mean when I say you are going in front of Ein Od Milvado? What is Ein Od Milvado?
There's only one God. He's in charge of everything.
But Hashem. What does that mean to you? Ein Od Milvado. There's no one else but Hashem. Okay, so that's in my head. I'm about to go to Ein Od Milvado. What does that mean? There is no one else but Hashem.
That's the source of everything that I'm going to ask for, get, not get. That is all one big, the source of everything.
Beautiful. So let's say somebody like Chas v'shalom has a really bad disease, right? And somebody tells them, okay, just want you to know there's only one doctor in the world. One doctor in the world who can help you. And he's seen this disease before. So it's nothing new to him. But there's only one. And now you've got to take an airplane and you've got to fly 24 hours to South Africa. Okay? For 24 hours, you're going to be on this plane to South Africa. And you know that this is the person who holds the key to your well-being. So how are you going to proceed forward? Like, here you are in the plane, right? And now you're getting close. You get off the plane, you get in the taxi, you're getting up the elevator, about to see him. Like, what kind of feelings are you having?
Oh.
Right. Awe. Like, you are like, this is the moment. This is the only person. All my headaches that I fetch about, all the things I can't get right. I don't have a job. I don't have my health. I don't have whatever. I can't have kids. I can't find my shidduch. My kids are not getting married. But I mean, what is not on our list? Hey, we want Mashiach now. All of it. There's only one place to put it, and that's in the hands of Ein Od Milvado. And now you have that opportunity of going into the office. Okay, that's like, right? And you're so blessed. You know why you're so blessed? Because the rabbis gave you a script. If there wasn't that script, I don't even know if you would know what to say. You know, when you're so like, you'd be tongue-tied. This is, oh my gosh, I'm going to talk to the king, the person who can help me. Oh. I don't even know if we would be able to speak. I'm being really honest. I don't even know if we could. We have to be so grateful to the rabbis for putting the prayer together for us, for giving us the language, for giving us this opportunity to be able to articulate, and that they've done it for us. And then on top of that, they've given you a part where it's okay now. Even if you say the stupidest things, but it's just going to come from your heart, the doctor's going to want to hear about it. You know how many times, like, you know, I was listening to somebody, it was the saddest thing. You know, they had not a very pleasant experience and the husband walked out on them. Okay, when that husband walked out of them, they were slapped across the face. Like they were like in another zone. They just didn't know where to put themselves, but they had to get divorced, right? So the husband's like filing and he's got this rough, tough lawyer and, you know, and like she thought at least he'd give her an easy time. He didn't give her an easy time. He went like full hog, you know, gonna get her. But you know what? She was so torn and so befuddled. She'd spend all the time on the phone with the lawyer and the lawyer would say, I really understand. You're really depressed. Don't feel bad about it. You could talk to me. I've got the time. And then 1 hour later, he billed her $400. Okay? So you don't have that. You've got like the Ein Od Milvado, supreme lawyer, and he's willing to hear anything you have to say, even if it's crazy, even if it's what, how do you start Shmona Esrei? Those 3 words, okay, so let me look in this letter. Those 3 words, like after you've stepped back and after you've stepped forward, are the most incredible words because you have to know the history, okay? So it's Hashem, Sifasai, Tiftach, Ufi, Yagi, Tehi, Losecho. This was written, does anybody know who wrote those 3 words?
David HaMelech.
Yes, and it's in Tehillim.
Tehillim.
You know when he wrote it? Where? Like the historical background. Does anybody know it? Okay. Extremely depressed, extremely angry, extremely frustrated, feeling like Hashem slapped him across the face. Like he was burning with frustration and anger. That's how he felt. So when was it? You know, the whole story with David HaMelech and Bathsheba, right? So there's like the rabbis who say people think he sinned, but for who he was, he didn't make a sin. It was just like a mistake. It was not to his, what would I say, to his caliber, okay? It's very painful. So the Navi, the prophet comes and he tells him, like, you did a really not a good thing. Like for who you are, this was a mistake. Would it be a mistake for everybody else? Maybe not. But for who you are, this was a mistake. And David HaMelech is like so down about it because he's thinking, you know, in prophecy, he saw that this Bathsheba and David were supposed to have a child, and that child would be Shlomo HaMelech, right? So he really thought he was doing Hashem's will. And then at the end, it's like not good enough. You ever get that feeling, you know, you worked really, really hard to make a dinner, and then one little thing is off. So, you know, instead of somebody going, wow, the whole dinner was great, they go, you know, the coleslaw tasted sour. And you're like, I just killed myself. All you remember is the coleslaw tasted sour. So like,
Coke wasn't cold.
Right.
The Coke wasn't cold.
Wasn't cold. So the David HaMelech is like, he's so hurt. Why? Because the first child that David HaMelech and Bathsheba have dies at birth. Okay? That means like he's waiting 9 months. He's trying to hope and daven, Hashem, I did the right thing. I saw this prophecy, please Hashem. And then Hashem goes, whack. All those people who thought you were a stinker, makes you feel like one, doesn't it? Like, could you imagine? So he's asking Hashem, he's saying, Hashem, nothing hurts me more than being angry at you. Anybody have that feeling sometimes with your spouse? You get really angry at them and it just makes you feel so bad. Like you don't want to be, you don't want this wedge in your relationship, but you're afraid to open your mouth because you know you're going to whack them. You're going to make that wedge even bigger. You know, you're afraid to open your mouth. So here he's saying to Hashem, you know, Hashem, the biggest pain I have is that I'm interpreting everything that you're doing as if you hate me. And it's making me really mad. I'm mad at you. I'm mad at myself. I'm mad at this relationship. I need your help. Hashem sifasai tiftach, help me open my mouth in calm. And then my mouth will say what it really wants to say, which is really to praise you and tell you.
Praise you instead to complain.
Instead of complaining. And that, I think, is a good way for all of us to start Shemona Esrei. You know, because I think sometimes down deep, we might be harboring some resentments and some disappointments and some misunderstanding. And it's hard for us to have what Esther said, Amuna is the key to everything. And it's very hard for us to sometimes believe, you know, yeah, I know it's for the best, but it doesn't feel like that. Hashem, super tight, because down deep, down deep, that's where my neshama is, my amuna is, and I see the bigger picture. So please, Hashem, sifasai tiftach, open my mouth, because the truth is, I only want to say what's right, and I only want to say what's good, and I really, really only want to thank you. Because down deep, I know I'm holding on. I'm holding on, like it's spinning, but I'm holding on to the wheel. Right? I'm holding on. I'm holding on to the blanket. They say at the end of days, Hashem will take a blanket and shake the world. The whole world will be going up and down like this on this blanket, and your job will be to hold on to the edges of the blanket in Amuna. And that's what's, you know, that's the reality. So that's what we're trying to say. It's been a lot of time. We've been praying for a lot of stuff. Things are always going weird, like what Barb says. One day this, one day that, one day this, one day that. Like it's almost hard to keep up with. Right? And every day you're saying to yourself, you know, Hashem, I'm trying. So then before you start this tefillah, you step back, you know, forget it. I'm dumping the junk. I'm trying to dump it all. Then I'm going to move forward. I realize I'm standing before Ein Od Milvado. You're the only one. And even if I have these resentments, I'm begging you to open my mouth. Help me focus. Help me come from my heart. No down deep. I get it. Need your help to express it. Okay, so it's like very, very beautiful. All right, so that's the beginning of that concept of the going back, the coming forward. What are we saying? And I think it's very important. I really love the fact, I really want to stress this, that the rabbis didn't start this off with like la la land, like we love you, everything's great, everything's wonderful. No, we didn't start off that way. We start off with the truth. It hurts, there's emotional stuff. It's not fun. It's not easy. It's not comfortable. That's what David HaMelech is yelling. It's not comfortable. I have to lead the Jewish people and I'm always looking like a loser. I'm not winning, Hashem. It doesn't look good. It doesn't feel good. But even so, down deep. I know this is all for you. It's all for the best. Open my mouth and let me sing the praises that I really want. Okay, do you see what's going on? And I really think that that's the greatness of the Jewish people. Like, I don't know if you appreciate it, because if you take Judaism and you know, parallel it with Christianity, Christianity is so fake. Everybody is a tzaddik. Nobody ever does anything wrong. Everything is amazing. And if you do something wrong, you go to the priest and say, you know, Yoshki will save me. I believe in Yoshki. Fine, out. No, Judaism is the real deal. It's the truth. Like you see it in the prayers, you see it in everything that we do. It's called human beings, right? Trying to be the best they can be. It's called, right, using this body, using this neshama and letting the neshama ride. And that's really, I think, something very beautiful. I think this is very beautiful that right here they're telling you can express your feelings and you can express the pain. It's not just about like everything's great and everything's wonderful. It's like everything's great and everything's not so great, not so wonderful in my limited view, but I need help from you to see the bigger picture. Okay? Okay, does anybody have any questions? Because it doesn't pay to do the next stuff.
I have a question.
Sure.
You were talking about Hannah, and it's still interesting because was she one of the first to actually daven like that quietly with her lips? And because the high priest at that time thought she was nuts.
Right. He thought she was drunk.
Right.
Thought she was drunk. And I think because, you know what, I'm wondering if this was a very personal, it was very emotional, you know what I mean? And he was watching her and he didn't understand what was going on. So I think you're right. I'm wondering if it was the first way. I think that, you know, somebody really had articulated that way and sang that way and did what, you know what I mean? And did what she did. So I think you're probably right. You know? Anyone else? Any other question? Yes, Sandy.
I think.
Okay, wait, let's hear Sandy for a second.
I've seen people go back, take their 3 steps back on Sur Yisrael. What is that all about?
Okay, so now when you're going back, that's a very important part too, right? When you're going back for Oseh Shalom Yisroel, that's when you say.
No, at the beginning. Tzur Yisrael, Kuma Be'ezrat Yisrael.
In Shmona Esrei?
Yeah, it's the part before. It's just the paragraph before.
Okay, yes. Okay. So some people will do that. That's interesting that you brought that out. I see that in our shul, like my husband Shita, they do not do it. You will see it in some schools, and that's people who are preparing for Shmona Esrei that much earlier. Okay, but I know personally, like in our shul, we don't. So it's just another minhag. Okay, another way of doing it.
I never knew that even.
Yeah, you'll see it. Like it depends, I guess, on the stuff and the way that they're davening. I don't think it's like a big major change. It's just an issue of doing it a little sooner. Okay. So anyone else? Any other thing? Any thoughts? Like share thoughts? Any thoughts on your own Shmona Esrei?
I wanted to ask.
Okay. So wait 1 second. Sorry. So we're gonna ask Barb, and then we're gonna go to Hadassah.
No, just a thought. I kept hearing the word like comfortable. Right now, the world is we have to be comfortable being uncomfortable because that's just what I wanted to share.
So I would say the word is acceptance.
Yeah.
A lot of what Hashem wants from you when you are in trouble, the first thing to get yourself out of trouble, which it's worth knowing all this. It really is.
Yeah.
Okay? I really want to give you the heads up, okay, on how to deal with it, as far as I understand, okay? First thing when you're in trouble, the first thing you have to stop for a second, which is very hard, but if you can, thank Hashem for everything that was good in the past. Okay, because you don't want to just wipe the slate. You know what I mean? You know, like that's the most painful thing when people do that to you. Like anybody, you know, when you get judged, like everything you did goes down the drain. You're horrible. I shouldn't have expected anything else from you. You always, right? So first thing is, you know, Shem, I want to just thank you before. I had good health. I really appreciated that good health. Thank you so much for that good health. Okay. Now I accept where I'm at. There must be a reason for this. I'm not going to fight this. I'm going to work, do my hishtadlos, but I'm not kicking and screaming at you. Okay. I need you to help me understand what I need to do in this circumstance. And Hashem, the derech teva, the way of life is that people need to be healthy. You know that we know that. All of us know that. It's if you want my neshama to work at its best, you want me to do the best mitzvahs I can do, I need to be healthy to do it.
And have money.
Yeah, and money and anything else. Money also. You know how important it is to daven for parnasa? Everywhere in your prayers. Even in Shmona Esrei, there's a special thing I'm going to show you. A special paragraph that you should say every day. And it's for parnasa. You beg Hashem. You know what you beg him more than anything, which is most beautiful? Let my parnasa come from you. Not that I have to go and beg and knock at doors and chas v'shalom, never for these mishulachim, people beg like, can I $5? It's so hard.
That's why we have, when we bake the challah, we say that beautiful bracha.
Yeah,
that we and our kids should be nourished by Hashem's hand.
Beautiful, 100%. Okay, great. So Hadassah, did you ask your question?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to ask, is there a specific time that you have to finish this Shmona Esrei by?
So I'm going to get you the times. Like there's times you should say Shmona Esrei, you have until like midday. I think it's like usually till around 1:30. Okay?
Oh, okay.
Until 1:30. So it's good to say, always like it's nice if you can get up in the morning and do it, right? And then I'm going to teach you, like when we get there, I want to go through Shmona Esrei, then I'm going to just give you a general law of what the order of prayer is for women. You know what I mean?
That would be good.
Okay,
okay.
That would be
so I'm getting out.
Some days are better than others. Like some days you get up and you've got it, and some days the bracha for us is that we're not.
Sandy, are you saying Tehillim now?
Yeah, we're going to do a prayer of thanks.
We're going to do the prayer of thanks now.
Yeah, that would be excellent, Gail. I would appreciate that.
Okay.
Gail, can I ask a question? Why do we step back with the left foot and forward with the right foot?
So when you're moving away from Hashem, so you're going to work with your weaker side. Like if you think about it, for most people are righties, okay? Then when you're going to go forward to Hashem, you want to go like with vigor. Do you know what I mean? So that's what it is. Okay, so now let's hear Sandy.